questions off the bat from anybody about anything?
Hey, I'll jump in.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Can I share my screen and just ask you why something is happening that
Yep.
I don't know how to fix it? Okay.
Yep. I'll
All
try
right.
my best.
Okay, one sec. Okay, here. Share screen. Okay, so I had another email integrated, and now I no longer have access to this email because I quit my job. And how do I get this to go away? And
just click on that banner there.
Yeah. I was wondering if I just need to like sign out of all Google and then sign back in.
I would try that, yeah. Because usually, or the Google My Business. Well, no, it's with the calendars. Never mind. The only other thing, I would try that first. Try disconnecting Google completely, reintegrating. If that doesn't work, I would look under your calendars on that left sidebar and see under the connections if it's still being pulled in anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Even hit that drop down where it says check for conflicts. Okay, so that doesn't show. That's good. And if you go back up more under the account connections. Okay, and the ads would not be. Okay. Yeah, let's start with having you disconnect entirely and reconnect, because if it's not pulling in anywhere there.
Cool. Okay.
Are you the only user in this account?
I am.
Okay, so then it's not like, oh, another user has it connected and you didn't realize or something. Yeah, and I would do that.
Awesome. That. Okay, I'll definitely do that. My other question is, I guess it relates more to like Extendly.
Yeah.
I don't know if, okay.
If I don't know the answer, I will try my best to get you the right answer.
Oh, okay. I mean, I have their Slack support, but I was wondering, I know that I'm supposed to have like a little button up here that says, get some support and chat or whatever. My situation is unique, I think, because I was an affiliate a long time ago that signed up with them with like the agency plan or whatever. Then I downgraded to the single plan because I was like, I need to just figure this out for myself before I start jumping in and trying to do it for a bunch of people. And I don't know if I get all the same stuff that I did previously, but I would love to start using them to, onboard some clients and get their stuff set up like their white label service.
Totally. Okay. So what I will do, what email did you use with, or what email did best contact you with, I guess?
I think it's this one right here, Philip with 1L at getroundhouse.com.
Okay. So what I'll do is after this meeting, I will have one of the team members reach out to you. I don't know which one exactly. I'm going to make sure I get to the right person that will get you the fastest answer. I'll probably go straight to Sharon and then work my way from there, but I will get you an answer and get you at that email as well. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you want to copy me on that, that's great.
Yeah.
And if it turns out that I just need to pay more money to step up my game, then let me know.
Yeah. Right. In terms of learning it, have you signed up for the Academy at all? Have you seen that level 1 is free?
Yeah. So I have, and Extendly member resources. Okay. I'm going to the site, and then I only have access to like one program.
Yeah, so there's 3 courses, right? There's the 3 courses, and then if you buy all 3, you still have to work through level 1 to 2. Okay, so that one would be different. Okay, so let me send you. So if you go to the link I threw in the chat, it should be that one. Let me double check. since it's in front of me anyway. Oh yeah, it's level -1. Darn it. Okay, second link I sent in the chat. And if you use the code that I'm also putting in the chat for level 1, you will be able to get level 1 for free right now.
Oh, cool.
And that's the most basic level of all 3, of course, but it's a really good base starting line to just make sure you're understanding each of the main features in the system and get a good overview of how they work. And so, you can start understanding, and then you can always upgrade from there if you'd like, if you want to keep moving and you like what you see. But that's always a good
Philip, I got to tell you, Stephanie is amazing teaching.
Thank you.
I took it.
And it's not just me anymore, too.
Yeah, well, you're the best. No, I would highly recommend it. You're going to absolutely love it. She'll teach you this inside and out. So.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've learned a lot in the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, but I could definitely know more.
Totally. And even in level 1, in any of the levels, there's like workbooks and stuff. This is a printed version of one, but you get a bunch of different workbooks and worksheets where it's like, this is the entire workflow kind of.
Oh, wow.
My mom calls it the workflow Bible. But it's like a bunch of terminology, every trigger that you can use, every action you can use, examples of how you can use them, a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Do you get that when you go into the second one, or?
This one specifically would be in level 1 as well. I can share my screen and kind of show you where that would be. So. Of course, I'm coming from my end, but if you are logged in and if you are signed up, it would be members.theghlacademy.com right there. That's that login link.
Yep.
But what was that?
Yeah, I'm going through this stuff.
Oh, gotcha. But not only are they attached to the lessons themselves, like workflow automation has that attached in the lesson, but there's also every level has this build guides and cheat sheets lesson at the bottom.
Right.
This is your master list for each level with all of the resources. So this is where you would be able to find that TA guide workflows. And that is what I'm holding right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so you can print it, you can save it, you can write all over it. Do whatever you want with it, and there's a bunch of other ones there. And then if you go through level 2 and 3, there are more resources that come with those and that content, but you do get
You gotta pay for them.
You do, but level 1 is free right now. So
and
awesome.
it is very good. The question that I have is, the setup is the hardest thing. Okay.
I just want to make sure, Philip, did you get your question answered fully?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, and then I will follow up with the team about getting you set up with Extendly as well, just so you know.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, William, continue.
Sorry, Phil, I didn't mean to butt in there.
No worries.
The main thing is getting set up. I have my setup call on Monday.
Awesome.
And but when you go to even your class, your first the first session, you really need to be set up before you do that, don't you?
A little bit. That's where the GHL 101 course came into play. And we actually moved that kind of in-house. So if you are in level 1 or any higher, pretty much.
Right, in level 1 right now.
Yeah, you should have access to this course here, getting started. I don't know why I didn't add people. I'll have to double check that. But nonetheless, I will make sure that everyone gets added for that. But once you do, that will go through more of that agency side.
Right.
and not just the features and going right into a sub account and how to use the features in there.
Yeah, and there's one guy in there that's very good, but he's so fast.
Mm.
I mean, he just goes through it. You almost need to have somebody that is talking to a kindergartner
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, now you do this, and then we move to here, and he just
Right.
flips through it like we should know it.
Yeah, I'm curious which lesson that would be, because right now we don't have, it's just Tiana and I making the video, so it might be
No, this is in the GHL.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The setup, because I was trying to get all set up,
Mm.
to be perfectly done,
Mhm.
when I have my call on Monday, but he just goes so fast.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, any of the videos should also have a setting where you can adjust the playback speed. And that allows you to slow it down or speed it up. Because I know we tend to make the videos shorter and a little bit faster, knowing that, you can pause and such.
Yeah.
In the meantime, it's still a great point nonetheless. I'm not saying that that's wrong or anything.
And I have two computers going, so I pause it and do what I'm supposed to do, and then but sometimes I have to play it over like 10 times.
Yeah, and even with that, like even after your setup call, you still may feel a little like, I don't know, because things are always changing in terms of like what you want and tweaking, and so it's just a good reminder not to get set on like feeling like, okay, this is good and I never have to check it again, because I'm sure, as the business is always moving. And
I had insurance agencies for 40 years, so
yeah, so exactly
it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It changed. You think you have something down, and then they throw something else at you.
With that point, I do want to throw out anybody in the academy or the White Label Academy specifically, and we may give it out or something, we'll see. But we are in the process of making an A2P workbook. So in the same fashion of the workbooks that I showed you here, which have like the step-by-step kind of thing.
That's awesome.
We're going through extend these resources, our white label high level agencies resources, other resources that we can. And we are making a workbook on that. And I do have plans to make a white label version of that for the White Label Academy folks. So that you can also have a workbook if you're in the White Label Academy and you're using that for your clients. You can have a version that's white labeled. You can give it to them and say, hey, this is my workbook on this, and all of that.
I have one more quick question.
Yeah.
There's not much on the true CRM part.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree? Because what
yes
I'm doing,
and no, but tell me more.
What I'm doing is I set up my agency as a sub account.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put all my customers, not SaaS customers or Go High Level customers, but my insurance customers in the CRM with all their information.
Right.
Okay. And I think I'm doing it wrong, because I did because when you go into the sub accounts, I start setting up, it looks like I'm setting up more sub accounts, and I don't want them under a sub account. I want them under my account, my sub account.
Have you checked out, since you said you were in level 1, have you watched the import and manage contacts lesson?
Probably. I think I watched them all, but I go back and watch them.
That's one where I walk through basically I just want to throw that resource out there because it does go into more detail than what I would explain right now. But essentially, when you're in your sub account, you're going to want to go to contacts. Ernie, thank you. He said that was his favorite lesson. Thanks. you're gonna love the other lessons or the other levels then, because they're even more hands-on. Anyway, I get too excited. But CRM. So you would go into your sub account and contacts, that contacts page, and I'll even share my screen here so we can visualize what I'm saying. So if we go, let me go to the training account. So if we go to contacts, this is where we have that CRM, right? Usually it's blank when you start out, of course.
Right. Okay.
Right. This is where you're going to have all of your people. This is your address book, right? So all of these buttons up here allow you to perform actions to that list. So you can select a whole list of people. You can select a few people. You can even open up a specific contact record.
So this would be in my sub account under my name or under my business.
Yes. And then
nobody else would see that.
Not unless you give them access.
Okay. Okay. See, because what I did is I was doing high ticket sales for a while. And so, you know, I obviously what they give us as sales guys, or salespeople, you know, you didn't get all the bells and whistles. So you pretty much were stuck with what they gave you. So okay.
The most important thing, and that's where I'm referencing that lesson specifically because it does go into more detail on this and gives you some example files too. But the most important thing is that when you're importing a list and you're gonna, like, if you have like an Excel file of all your people, if you have their favorite color, their favorite season, their insurance number, or whatever, you got to make those as fields in your account before you import it in, because otherwise it's not going to know where to put that information. So you got to give it like a little home, right?
Right. So like policy number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Policy number and like lease renewal date or, you know, anything you want it to be.
Okay, cool.
Are great.
Okay. I should have known that, but I
no worries. It takes a lot of like doing it. And that's where level 1 is tricky because it's more of that introductory kind of like telling you what things are, whereas level 2 and especially level 3, that's where you're starting to get your hands dirty a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's really kind of trying to get you to solidify, get familiar with each concept. You don't have to master it necessarily. And then level 3 is, okay, you are putting them together to make an appointment process and an event process. That way, you know, you can look at any project and say, oh, well, that's just an appointment with those bells and whistles on it, right? Any appointment for any industry is at its core is going to be the same process. Appointment is an appointment, an event is an event. They're all going to have a very similar base there. So instead of reinventing the wheel every time, learn those bases, get really good at the features so you can, you know, get super customizing and stuff like that. And that comes with experience as well. But learning how to just build those base concepts, those base projects makes it so much less intimidating when you get a client request and they're like, oh, I need this, and that, customized and that, connecting to that. And you're like, whoa, oh my God, I don't know how to do any of that.
And really none of that stuff's covered in lesson 1, right?
Not in level 1. No, this would be level 3, right?
I thought I was really missing the boat.
No. That's where level 1 is really that basic introductory something for like the agency owners where they have a team. The team's going to do all the work, but like the agency owner just needs a good overview of what they're buying, right? That introductory, getting familiar with what the features are. Level 2, going even more in depth, breaking them down further, introducing the affiliate and social media and all of those other features. We just don't want to overwhelm you too much too fast. Because if you go step by step, we're really making you slow down and understand each feature as its own concept before we start throwing them together. It's like any recipe. You want to make sure you know what each ingredient is before you throw them all together to make something that hopefully tastes good, right? But yeah, that's where, in level 3, you're learning those base concepts, because then when you get those requests, you can see yeah, there's all this customization and tweaking and branding that we'll need to do, of course, but that's just a lead magnet trying to get them to book an appointment.
Right.
I know how to do those two things. Cool. And you'll get a sense of how long it takes you to build out that, how long it takes you to build out an appointment. So you can think when someone comes to you, that's going to be this much because it takes me that long. And there's challenges in there that you're being the one. It's really like working with a client. And you're not prompted everything. You have to come up with the right answer. The email from the client is like, it won't have all the information. What if they want to do something we can't do? Are you going to say, oh, sucks, sorry? Or are you going to try and get some sort of answer to them, or here's a workaround, or anything that way? And that's where level 3 is a lot of people's favorite. It's hard, but it's a lot of people's favorite because you're really getting a chance to see what it's like to stumble and get stuck and learn from it and be able to recover back from it without getting too discouraged, because that's the hardest thing about those few clients is you don't have the confidence that you need. So we say, hey, do these 10 projects, fail as many times as you need, but we're going to keep grading it so that you can learn and build your confidence. So when you actually go get that first client, you're going to make money and you're going to be confident in yourself to make that money. So
I got one more thing.
Yeah.
I just want to know if I'm doing, if you think I'm doing this right, is I'm going to build my own customer base, under my sub account.
Right.
Okay? And go through all that lead magnets and all that stuff to build, see how many additional customers I can get. And then I'm going to other agents and then show them how to do that.
Right.
So how do I make money? I mean, I know.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a big question. Charles looks like he wants to answer.
Well, I can say this. I mean, so looking at it from your standpoint, so I came from automotive. I knew the automotive process. Okay, so my first 5 clients were automotive. They were automotive sales professionals. So what I did when I started my agency was okay, let me put myself in the shoes of a salesperson. I already know as a manager and as a manufacturer employee of what that process should be, what the best practices are. So I built out a dummy account with all the workflows and automations built for best practices. You're essentially doing the same thing. You know the insurance business. You know what the best practices are. You've been doing it long enough. You know what's tried and true at any scale. Now, there's always additional things you can do, but don't worry about that. Don't, just like when you did sales coaching in insurance, forget the noise, stick to the basics. You have your road to the sale, just like any other profession. Okay. Stick to your road to the sale and build out one pipeline is all it takes. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. Okay. Because this will adapt over time. Okay. As you get more comfortable with the system, then you're like, okay, now I can have a pipeline for life insurance. I can have for auto insurance. I can have for homeowners insurance, or I can have a bundle pipeline to where they purchase multiple products. But just start off with one sales pipeline. You know your road to the sale. I don't need to tell you that. You need to put that in your pipeline. Those are your pipeline stages. New internet lead. This is what I started off with. Okay. I started off with new internet lead. That was one stage. Phone was another stage. That was for an incoming phone call because they would be in an office. And then the other one was a walk-in. And then I had appointment, either interested, not interested, appointment scheduled, and I just built out my road to the sale. I took my 5 steps in my road to the sale and put them into the sales pipeline. And then I just built automations around those stages. So once you do that, you're still in the insurance business. So you use it for a few weeks, a month, or a couple months, and you work out the bugs to where it's like, okay, if they're an incoming phone call, I'm going to do the immediate follow-up, but then I don't want to do the follow-up day 2 and on. After day 7, if I haven't contracted them, I already know that I stand a pretty low chance of getting them within the next 60 to 90 days because now they're shopping. But I need a long-term follow-up. So what you do is you build out an account for yourself as an agent, and then you make a snapshot of it. And that's what you sell.
Yeah. Now
you know what you do.
Yeah.
Just
you're
don't
SaaS,
overthink it.
Yeah. You're SaaS only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's sort of the direction I want to go in.
Huh.
So can you do what I'm trying to do and be SaaS only?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Because the big thing with insurance is not necessarily new clients as much as it is retaining your clients, especially right now with the way the economy is. So like my insurance clients, all they are is about long-term follow-up, sold follow-up, like staying in front of these people and, doing email newsletters randomly based on what's going on in the news, what kind of noise is out there that I want to kind of turn their head a slightly different direction so they don't start shopping for insurance again and I lose that, income. Because in insurance, that's primarily what it is. Yes, you need clients, but the retention is the big part of it. And then upselling and adding, other products as they have kids, as they add vehicles, as they, move, maybe they buy a rental property, those kind of things. That's all relationship after the sale. That.
Yep. It's all cross-selling. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So keep it stupid simple. Keep it to your core sales process. Don't worry about all the other noise. Keep it to the absolute tried and true, what's worked for the last 40 years in insurance. This works every single time. Because in automotive, it was the same thing. The sales process is the same exact. It hasn't changed in 80 years. It never will change. The core principle will always be the same. You have your meet and greet. You have your needs assessment. You have your feature review or demo. You present numbers and you close. It's 5 steps. That's it. We want to make it into this big convoluted thing, but that's the road to the sale. Just about anything that you sell. Keep it simple. But build it out for yourself. Work out the bugs as an agent that's actively using the system. And in a month or 2, you'll have a great snapshot. You'll already make sure as you're building it, any email or text templates that you make, use merge fields. For the love of God, use merge fields. Otherwise, you'll find yourself making a snapshot and then having to go back and replace your name with a merge field later on, which is a whole nother pain in the rear. So as you're building emails, build it like you're building it for someone else. Use merge tags, use custom values wherever you can. Try not to hard code anything, because that way it doesn't matter what their agency name is. It doesn't matter what brand they're going. It doesn't matter if they're State Farm, Farm Bureau, or whatever. It easily swaps out with the information that's already in the CRM. So that way, when you load that snapshot, they're good to go. They can use, look, I've been in insurance for 30 years. I know what emails work and I know what text messages work. You're a new State Farm agent. How would you like to have all my email templates, all my text templates, my exact follow-up that I know works? I've tried it and used it for 30 years. How would you like me to give that to you with a little bow wrapped on it, where you can just click start? That's what you're doing.
Okay. Do you, if you go SaaS only and you're not doing any, you're not doing any Facebook or Google or SEO or any of that stuff, do you find the only way that makes sense is to have a bigger ticket item than what is?
That's going to depend. I mean, there's a lot of different views on that. I will say for your space and real estate and a lot of others, what's going to be happening, and I don't have a solid confirmation on this, but I did see a conversation to where social comments interaction is coming to Highlevel. When it's coming, I don't know. I don't know if it'll even be this year. But they're looking to add a couple more things to the social planner. And then once those are done, they are going to work on interactions with comments on social posts, turning them into conversations, which is huge in insurance and real estate and everything else. Because if you're putting out organic content, things that are coming from your agency, you're repurposing that content as an individual rep. Now, if people are commenting on it, you can start a conversation within the CRM, which creates a contact. It can potentially create an opportunity. So that is coming down the pipeline. It's in works. Heard that from the development team. So came out of their mouths. So they said they had a few things to wrap up on the social planner, and then they were going to start looking at that because it's one of the most requested features is comment engagement, so that we can get rid of the likes of like ManyChat and other services out there. So but it just depends. I mean, whether you're doing SaaS, whether you're doing SaaS and ads or whatever it may be, it's, you can do white label fulfillment. If you're not totally keen on it, not sure how to do it, you can do white label fulfillment. So there's a lot of different options out there.
I sort of get the impression that with SaaS only, you base it, and I'm probably totally wrong, but when you're doing that, you're no longer, hooked up with the person that you sold that to. Is that correct?
That depends on how you present yourself and your company and your product. So I am very much connected to all my clients.
You're very unconnected?
Very connected. They
very
message me all
connected.
the time in Slack.
Yeah.
We use Slack. I invite all my, clients to Slack until communities releases. So they message me on there. That's where I put our updates. I am the face of my company. But that's a choice. I mean, that's a choice. You can run SaaS either way. But I do feel there's value coming from that personal connection. You're able to build relationships. And I don't do any advertising. I just do organic, but I get a lot of referrals, and I have, as of today, 46 affiliates. You don't get that many affiliates and referrals if there's not a face to the business.
Yeah, I like Slack. I like the fact that if people can know exactly where to go for a question, and but like I said before, what I want to be able to do.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. So that's the reason it's a double-edged sword being the face of the company, because then they want to come to me all the time. That's why I limit them that's why I put them in Slack and said, look, this is what you want to contact me. This is where you contact me. Right. And more times than not, I copy whatever they need and post it in the extendedly chat Slack and say, hey, can you help this? I'll be like one of our team members, but it makes them feel important. It makes them feel connected. And that's just part of the sales process. That's the after sale relationship. That's what keeps them subscribed every single month. That's what keeps them referring other people and not even caring about using their affiliate link or using their affiliate link. So, yeah,
I like that a lot. I like that a lot because that makes more sense as far as retention. Yeah. Like with
it goes back to old school sales, old school, plain and simple. Like, it is what it is. This is a relationship. But there's a million ways to skin a cat. You just have to find what works best for you and your personality. I'm assuming the relationship side is much the same. I started in sales in mid late 90s. So I'm sure we have a lot of similarities, even though we were in different industries. We have a lot of similarities in training. So I'm sure you'll do well at going that route. So.
Thank you.
And yes, the academy is huge. I'm telling you, I have people in private communities that are shouting out the resources that I get from Extendly.
Love it.
The academy being one, the A2P snapshot being one,
Workbook.
serious. If you're not I repurposed the A2P into a blog post, stole one of the videos out of there and put it in my blog post. And
I only realized that there was the course for our clients in there because of your post. I was like, oh,
really?
I completely missed that. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, Melissa, you have, and she was like, oh my God, I missed that. And I was like, shut.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw for those in the academy or whatever, white label, different things there. This is the updates page that we're still in progress, but whatever. And we're using the blog posts in Highlevel for this, but
I don't
Charles,
see it yet. Do you?
I threw it in the chat.
Oh, got it.
But Charles, I gave you a shout out on the
I
white
saw.
label.
I appreciate it. Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. Use these resources not only in your SaaS instance, but use them in your marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Leverage, because my blog post was about A2P, but how Pinnacle was making it easy. That was what my blog post was. So we included a little bit of information. I included the explainer video from the course.
Mm-hmm.
I downloaded the video from the course and put it into the blog post. And so it was informative. So people that aren't on Pinnacle understand, and it starts to raise questions. Exactly. Well, I haven't heard this from my Thrive rep. I haven't heard this from my Salesforce rep. I haven't heard it from my HubSpot rep. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Everybody that I've talked to that's with those three companies, they haven't heard a word from any of them.
Yeah. And that's why it was a no-brainer, for us to make a workbook on it too, because being able to not only give all of you guys something to work through yourselves and reference, but especially with the white label academy, like being able to give you a white label version of it that you can then give to your clients and help with questions and say, hey, not only do am I telling you about this, but here's a thing on it and a course and a blog post and all of this fun stuff. And I don't know, it's fun. It's
a great form of social proof that you don't even have to do anything for.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us how to do that? Where they, when somebody signed the permission, it also documented the date they opted in and the dates they opted in.
Are you talking about in a opt-in form or for A2P?
Yeah. They did it in the A2P specifically, but they were able to capture the date and secure it. How do you do that?
I don't.
So
Charles,
that's in the form. Yeah, that's in the. They're in the snapshot. Okay, there is a landing page with a form already. There's a funnel page with a contact us form already. The field name that you're looking for is, hold on, let me find it here. So SMS opt-in. So if you look for I'll put
No, I wanted to know how to do it, not just what's in there.
Just put it on a form. The workflow is already in the snapshot. So when someone submits the form and they check the box. I want her
to show me how to do that. How do you create that?
So good question. I'm just referencing that with the A2P course that you brought up and mentioned with the question. But essentially, you would just create a custom field, whether that's a checkbox, drop down, whatever format that you want. And because it doesn't, especially with the date, but if you want it to be where they fill out a date, you can make it a date field and then that auto updates their contact record. But in terms of signing, you would want to either fire a workflow off of that form or survey being submitted, or even that custom field being updated. So you could do the contact changed trigger via that custom field that you created, that opt-in field, whatever it may be. And then that would be triggering your workflow. So basically, whenever that field is filled in, whether it's a specific form or you're putting it on multiple forms, you just want to do the field. Then your action would be updating.
Can you show it to me? Because I'm not following it as much, but it's when so when they check the box and then it goes into the system when they did it, right?
Right.
Okay.
So Charles, if you want to open that trigger that you got there. So essentially it's going off of contact changed. And in this case, it's going off of that specific field. But this is where I would put like the opt-in field is not empty, because if we want it, or it is yes, whatever your field requires, right? You're triggering your workflow off of that. And then I believe, yeah, you cancel out of there.
Yep. And then we're
They're adding
a
it to their notes. They're tagging them off of it. But that last one there is a update contact field action. And this is where you can take any custom field that you've created in your account and update it. So whether it's a date, you can make it current date. If it's a text box, you could put the current date custom field in there. That's up to you and up to the custom field and up to the use case, of course. But in this example, it's updating that SMS opt-in date field with the current date. So that's where they're saying when that form is filled in or that custom field is filled in, whichever.
It's a checkbox. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Update this field, amongst other things. Update this field with the current date. Different custom fields are going to give you different options, of course, in filtering. So it depends. And that's
but this is all in the A2P snapshot.
I know, but this is kind of like to teach us how to do that. So I didn't quite realize it was in the workflow, not necessarily just in the form builder. So
it's just like any other, like firing off of any other form field being submitted, and just customizing what you want it to do.
So if you want to use that workflow, if you want it, say you created a new form and you're like, hey, I need the opt-in on that too. Whenever you create your new form, just click add element, go to custom fields because it's already in there from this A2P snapshot. Type in opt, and you're looking for SMS opt-in, not either one of the date ones, because that's what the workflow is doing. It's updating the date ones. You just need to take the one that says SMS opt-in, drop it wherever you want. And then the only other thing you need to do is just take out the field title, or you could put in SMS opt-in if you wanted to.
And that goes for
the verbiage.
Any opt-in field too. So if you have one for all your events and you have one for all of the SMS stuff and like this, if you have one for emails, that's why I said with the trigger, it could be off of a form or survey specifically, but it also could be one field you're pulling in all over the place. So you're not having 100 fields per form or survey every time. You have one that they're all filling out, right? But, and if, trying to think, if you're, and I know you had a question about the template marketplace, I still will answer that over email, but the email list opt-in template pack on there goes through exactly what we just said as well. And gives you instructions as well and stuff like that. So awesome. Yeah, trying to think. For white label folks, if you're in the White Label Academy, we have 2 lessons that are coming very soon and I'm excited about. Conversations and Contact AI are going to be the next 2 ones that we add right away. And if you have suggestions, always just shoot them over. Be a little warm in my ear. Yeah. Any other questions for today? We still have a few minutes. No? Any life updates?
The one thing I will say that I've gotten a surprising amount of questions lately was the Chat GPT premium action.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I've had almost over the last 2 days, almost 10 different clients reach out to me about it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess everybody's starting to notice it's there.
I haven't played around.
I haven't messed with it. I just send them the support doc from Highlevel.
I'm gonna look at it. ChatGPT.
Because I'm waiting on conversation AI to pull in the web. I'm not even going to mess with the chat GPT part. I'm just going to wait for conversation AI because I don't want to think that much.
That would be a good little new oops, Sean did it again thing.
Yeah.
I told them with that, I was like, I'm not singing it in the intro of every little video. I'm not.
Oh, come on.
It again. But I did use it as an excuse to get a Stream Deck, because then I'm like, I'll hit a button that is her going like, yeah, or whatever. But I'm not, there I am singing it, whatever. Anyway, but let me write that down because I do chat.
Yeah, I've just been telling my clients, like, look, conversation AI is in suggestive mode.
Mm-hmm.
Use it, start to understand how it works in suggestive mode, because full auto is coming next.
What does that mean? Suggestive mode.
Suggestive mode is just going to, so like if someone texts you, if you have it turned on, okay, and you have some Q&As, you set up your calendar that you want it to default to, because it's objective based. That's the biggest. This is a huge selling point for anybody that's talking about chat GPT. Chat GPT, living documents, chat bots, yes, they can answer questions all day long. The problem is they have no direction. They just answer questions. Where conversation AI is going is it's objective based. That's why you have to set a calendar. Now they will have Sean said that they will have other objectives later down the road. The first one they're going to try to perfect as much as possible is setting appointments, because it's a primary one. So you set your calendar, and then there's a Q&A section to where you can put in, Q&A information and that way as they ask questions, it can kind of answer, but its goal is to set an appointment. So right now, if someone texts you, if you turn it on and you set everything up in conversation AI, if someone texts you or sends you a message on Instagram or Facebook, you can go into that conversation on your desktop. I don't know if it works on mobile. I haven't tried yet. But on the desktop, you can go in and you'll see little blue bubbles. And those are suggested responses from conversation AI. And sometimes it does take a minute. So it has to think just like any other chat GPT or open AI integration that you have seen. It takes a second for it to populate, but you'll see it. Conversation AI is thinking, and then it'll populate 3 different possible answers, and you can hover over them and it will preview it in that text box so you can see exactly what it says. Click it, click send, done. And so that's what suggestive is. And it's intended to help you build out your Q&A. As you see things come up that it's not giving good answers for, you add that to your Q&A. So then when the next phase comes out where it's full auto conversation, you already have this Q&A built out. Plus, you'll be able to attach your website for even more information at that point. So now I can have a full-fledged conversation, but still be goal-oriented to setting an appointment instead of just answering questions all day long and saying, hey, thanks for the question. There's your answer. I don't know what you want to do after that, but, so.
Very nice.
Yep, that's what it is. If you haven't tried it out, try it out. It's suggestive, so it's not going to send anything to your client. So you can at least start to learn how it's going to respond and start filling out that Q&A.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look into that.
Good info, Charles. Definitely. And guys, I had one nagging question.
Yeah.
My logo was appearing very, very small, and I don't know what size I should make it to appear larger.
You want to share?
For sure. Let's see. Give me just one sec.
You would have a great podcasting voice.
I hear that way too often. I actually need to.
Well, then do it. Get on it, dude.
I've got to.
All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So definitely a dimensions thing. So do you have the logo where it's not just square, like you can crop it more rectangular?
Yeah, I can make one.
Like the one behind you,
Oh yeah.
I would even make the white version and then take the background transparent if you are able to.
Okay.
And then, because that's the thing there is it's trying to put they're used to more rectangular images there.
Yep.
I think, yeah, you should definitely be able to adjust it more than they allow you at the moment. But, oh, Charles threw a code in the chat too.
Ooh, nice.
So once you get it into the rectangular shape and you're like, okay, I've got it, the top and bottom cropped off as much as possible.
Mhm.
And I've make the image, at least 350 pixels wide, with just your logo. Keep it top to bottom as short as possible.
Okay.
And then throw in that code into your agency CSS, and that will make sure it takes up the full width. It doesn't try to do something funky, because sometimes it does. Even no matter what size you put in there, it'll not appear like it's taking up the whole space, and it looks all kind of funky. But that will resize it to where it takes up the whole side panel.
That's perfect.
Awesome. Thanks.
Oh, agency CSS. Good question.
Yep, agency CSS. That would go in your agency CSS.
Yeah, so if we go to agency view, make this a little bigger, and down to settings.
Yeah, so you can make yours bigger.
And on the bottom here, there's custom JavaScript and also custom CSS. Because this is the agency side, and then we're under those agency settings, this is going to be for the entire system, every sub account under it, right?
Yep.
It's not super possible unless you get really, really intricate with coding to necessarily have like certain accounts on and off with these types of things. So just be aware of that. Of course, in this case, Andre, it doesn't really matter. But just for anybody else, but this is where you can use that custom CSS slot.
Awesome.
And if you don't have access to it and you're like, I can't see it, talk to whoever you are under. They can help you out, or maybe you need an agency yourself.
And then this is how big it'll be once you do the 350 wide. It'll take up the whole left panel.
Love it.
Awesome.
I love this group. Cool. Anything else?
And that code is courtesy of Extendly.
Oh, would you look at that? Love it.
I keep a repository going.
That's what I started doing with our white label too. Like we would have, because we subscribe to like Tom Bristol and things like that. So all of our agency clients can use the codes that we do from him. And so I made like a little course that was like, here's a bunch of code hacks.
Yeah. I'll get custom scroll bars, so it's yellow to match my branding. And
it's fun until it breaks.
Yep.
Something updates and then it's like, oh crap.
Hide that annoying Twilio banner and that WordPress banner that keeps popping up all the time. Yeah.
Will I need to adjust the code once I paste it?
Nope.
Good question.
The only thing you might, depending on how let me rephrase that. So depending on how your logo is shaped, okay, you may have to, I've seen people have to change it from width to height, but it's the same principle. It all depends on your logo. If you have a square logo or circle logo, you might have to play around with it. And here comes this logo. Okay. Oh,
that's of the.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool beans. Love it. Anything else? Last few minutes.
Oh, I did have one question.
Yeah, Charles, let's hear it.
So when you start doing the white label, so I did have a question about the white label updates. So in the blog,
I'm still figuring it out. So
well, so what I was thinking is what would be awesome is if when you do the blog post, if they're white, if it's a white labeled blog, that we could have an RSS to. So that way I can take that RSS and I can automatically post social media posts. I can post it to Slack channels.
Yeah. that's
That was
definitely,
one of the, when I saw you using the blog, I was like, ooh, RSS. Oh,
yes.
let's go.
Because we want to do the same thing, right? Like when
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, yes.
we want all the academy and the white label people to get that. And yes, the plan is kind of moving forward that any oops, Sean did it again kind of thing is that we do want to turn that into, depending on, as like there's ones that are like the speed is optimized, and it's like, okay, well, you know, that's not going to be something we're going to go and make a whole thing out of. But you know, form templates, and what's the other ones I put? The calendars. Now you can add guests. That came out today. You can, like, people booking can finally add different users to the appointment with them. And what we're talking about is like having a 7-day kind of turnaround where we make also like a white label version of it. That's less focused on, whoa, cool new feature. Sean did this cool thing, high level, GHL, all these brands things. Yay. And more like that, the lessons where it's like, okay, here's why adding guests can help benefit you, because more people can show up. That's more leads in your CRM. That's more people you can contact and follow up with later, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And those are going to be the ones. But I do
kind of roll in a quick, like, how to, or like cause and effect. Like, okay,
it's less just like,
yes, you can add guests, but here's why it matters.
Right. Because to you guys, you know why things matter. That's why you're an agency and why you're doing this or using the system. But your clients, it's one step harder to get them to do something and see why.
Well, one of my clients got super excited today when I told him there was custom fields available and opportunities.
Yes, I did
lost his lid.
An article out on that on the updates page, and I am making a video on that one as well. So
that's huge,
on its way.
But no, I just wondered about the RSS because I was like,
I think it would be a no-brainer to do that at this point, you know.
Well, and I think, like, to your point where, like, I have users that came from tech. So like they love all this, like what most agencies would probably never announce in like updates. I announce, and I have people ask me like, "What the heck do you tell your users that?" I'm like, well, some of my users actually care. They're just technical. So they appreciate it. But in the blogs where we can do the categories and set a RSS for a category. Yeah. So those of us that do want those, like maybe those not like so flashy updates, you know, but like those are those really white labeled and user reading ones. And because right now I have it set up where the categories are like white label academy updates for those that are, you know, they're more toward our clients, and extendly people just in the high level updates if they want to see what's going on in the programs as well. But no, I think it would be way too easy to do that, honestly, to not do it, if that makes sense. The only and I don't even and I will say this. So I rewatched the video several times today. And what I almost did, and I'm probably going to end up doing it, because the way that you did those, the way you worded it, even though it's not meant for client facing, it's meant for, like, it's not meant for my client. It's meant for your client, but not my client. The way you worded everything, the way you spoke, it did not reference any. So I was actually thinking about taking the video and then dropping a white block on top of your logo. Right. And which is kind of where I think we're going to kind whiting that out. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Meet my new employee right here. You know, she's going to tell you about an update. So when I need health insurance. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I think that's kind of the plan that we're thinking as well, because in terms of the videos that we're making across the board of the academy, it just makes more sense to kind of always start with a white label base, and whether it's the academy or not, if we're starting with the academy, might as well doing twice the work, right? So no, that's definitely where we're headed. And the most I would do, I think, is like run it through our video team and be like, just make sure I didn't say anything, because I don't listen to what I say. I just talk and hope it
makes sense.
Well, I
but
did. I listened very closely. That's why I watched them multiple times, because I was
thank
like,
you.
okay, I was like, I don't think that mentioned anything that I wouldn't want
Right.
mentioned.
And that's-
And the only thing I saw was the Academy logo on your dashboard. And I was like, well,
Because even the
that's- I
videos,
can
the
hide
Academy, the White Label Academy videos themselves, we use the Academy ones as bases and just took out all the stuff we didn't want, added some new stuff. But they're the same screenshots, just with things blurred and white out and grayed out, things like that. But yeah, we're definitely heading that route. The only hiccup I could possibly foresee, is right now, every time somebody signs up for the White Label Academy, we are cloning the entire funnel and adding their logo. And so when we change one thing, we're having to go through all of those pages and change it. And that's fine.
I thought about that. I was like,
yeah.
wow, that's a lot.
It is luckily global sections at least make it really fast, because you only have to do each one, and we're not at an extreme number of them yet to where it's overwhelming, but it's starting to get there. Luckily, that's a good problem to have. No complaints there. But that's where our inevitable goal was to kind of take Extendly's white label knowledge base setup and build the White Label Academy off of that same kind of skeleton outline. So the point being that if you're an Extendly member, it'll be right in your little chat widget on your thing, right? That's something your clients can just click on right within there, and it'll pop up. And you'll be able to add lessons and hide lessons and add your own if you want. That's going to have a lot more customization, especially also in terms of the domains and branding and all of that. So the only thing I guess would just be like not wanting to do the manual labor of, if we update here, not posting it there, but that's something we're going to do regardless. So yeah, I still think it's a great idea, but that's just a heads up in terms of format.
Yeah.
A while away.
Yeah. When I first saw you launch it, I was like, ooh, funnel. She's brave.
Yeah.
Oh, cow.
Yep.
It looks good. I mean, it looks great. I love it. It's very easy to navigate. I was kind of happy that it wasn't a course, because some people do find courses difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
If they're tech challenged, they find like courses in Highlevel.
And we didn't want to start with making you go back and update the snapshot every time for very tiny beta.
Here's one new lesson. Go update your snapshot and push it out to
exactly. Or we changed the sizes of the videos on the pages. Yeah. Now go fix it. Or, this little button was crooked. At the beta stage, we were like, oh, it's kind of, that would be wasting time. But now it's flipped the other end, because it has gone well, and it's just proving the concept. Nothing crazy.
That's good
stuff. But
I'm happy. My clients are happy. So that's
hey.
I'm going to jump off, but I do have can you just check my account? Because I just don't see that in there yet. In refresh.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And then that is at the top of the hour as well. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them on the Facebook comments in the chat on there, and then I will do my best to keep my eye on those and respond to any that I see. And we'll be back next week.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Take care. Happy holidays.
Yeah,
you guys enjoy the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yep.
My half birthday.
Don't have too much fun. You still need to work on the 5th. Okay.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Awesome. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. See you next week. Bye. Want to learn Go High Level in a structured format? Check out the GHLacademy.com by Extendly. We guarantee to save you 6 months of wasted subscription costs for High Level. Just visit the GHLacademy.com.